Right now, as you sit here watching this, something is happening inside your legs that most people over 60 never find out about until it is too late. Your muscles are trying to repair themselves every single night. That is their job. But if three specific nutrients are missing when you go to bed, your legs cannot complete that repair cycle. And over time, the damage compounds. Night after night, week after week, until weakness becomes your new normal. Here's what nobody tells you. The research on this has been available for years. Johns Hopkins University published findings on nighttime muscle recovery that should have changed how every physician counsels aging patients. But it never made it into the 7-minute appointment. It never made it into the pamphlet on the waiting room table. Because there is no prescription to write, no product to sell. Just 3 cheap vitamins taken at the right time that your body has been quietly begging for. And number 1 on that list, the most overlooked of all 3, will genuinely surprise you. I am saving it for the end. Because once you understand why it matters so much, you will never forget it. Before I go any further, I want to hear from you. Type your age in the comments right now. I read every single one. And what you share down there helps me create more content aimed directly at what your body needs at your stage of life. Now, let me tell you about Sandra. Sandra is 67, retired postal worker from Virginia, 31 years on her feet, walking routes, carrying weight. Her legs had always been her strength. Then they were not. By the time she reached out to me, she had already tried everything the obvious way. She was taking a multivitamin every morning. She walked 3 times a week. She ate reasonably well. And still, her calves cramped so badly at 2 in the morning that she had to grip the bedpost. Her knees felt like wet cement going downstairs. Her right leg would give out without warning on uneven ground. Her previous doctor had told her it was simply aging, that her body was doing what bodies do after 60. She believed him for 2 years. 2 years of declining strength. 2 years of tightening limitations. Here is what was actually happening. Sandra was not absorbing the nutrients she was taking, not fully, not the way a 40-year-old body absorbs them. And this is not a personal failure. This is physiology. After 60, your digestive system changes in ways that medical school textbooks spend very little time on, because by the time physicians see these changes, the damage is already years in the making. That is the system failing you, not your doctor personally, not your effort, the system. And today, I want to give you what that system leaves out. Let me walk you through vitamin B12 first. And I mean really start, not the surface version you have heard before. Your legs are not just muscle. They are a communication network. Every movement you make, every step you take, requires a signal to travel from your brain, down your spinal cord, through miles of nerve pathways, all the way to your calf, your thigh, your foot. That signal travels through a structure called the myelin sheath. Think of it like the rubber insulation around an electrical wire. When the insulation is intact, signals travel fast and clean. When it starts to deteriorate, signals get scrambled, delayed, lost. Vitamin B12 is what builds and maintains that insulation, and here is where it gets serious. After age 60, your stomach produces significantly less of something called intrinsic factor. It is a protein your gut needs to actually absorb B12 from food. So even if you eat eggs every morning, even if you have fish twice a week, your gut may be absorbing only a fraction of what you consume. The rest passes through. A 2017 study published in the journal Neurology followed over 2,500 older adults. Those with low B12 levels were nearly 3 times more likely to develop walking difficulties. 3 times. Not slightly more likely, nearly 3 times. And the timing of when you take B12 matters enormously. Here is why. Your nervous system does its most intensive repair work between roughly 10 at night and 2 in the morning. That is when your body cleans up damaged nerve tissue, rebuilds myelin, and resets the communication pathways to your legs. If B12 is not circulating in your bloodstream during that window, your nerves miss the repair shift. They work with what they have, which is not enough. Now, Sandra, when I changed her B12 timing and her form, she started sleeping through the night within 3 weeks. The 2 in the morning cramps stopped. She told me that her legs felt like they belonged to her again. But I had not even gotten to vitamin 2 yet, vitamin D3. And I want to push back on something right now. You have heard about vitamin D3 your entire adult life. You probably think you know this one. But I promise you, What most people understand about D3 and muscle strength is the surface. The real mechanism goes much deeper. Most people think D3 is about bones. Calcium absorption, sun exposure. That is the kindergarten version. Here is what the research actually shows. Vitamin D3 directly activates something called the vitamin D receptor inside your muscle cells. Those receptors control protein synthesis. They control how efficiently your muscles rebuild themselves after the daily wear of just being alive. After 60, your body's ability to regenerate muscle tissue drops significantly with each passing year. That decline is called sarcopenia, and low vitamin D3 accelerates it. Here is a way to understand it. Imagine your muscle fibers are like a rope bridge that gets frayed a little every day from normal use. Your body has a maintenance crew that comes out at night to reweave the damaged strands. Vitamin D3 is what activates that crew. Without enough D3, the crew shows up, but they cannot work. The bridge gets a little more frayed every morning. Now, here is the data that changed how I counsel my patients. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism followed seniors with confirmed low D3 levels. Those who supplemented at bedtime gained close to 19% more leg strength over 3 months, and they experienced roughly 34% fewer falls. Those are not small numbers. That is the difference between catching yourself on the porch step and not catching yourself. And why bedtime specifically? Because vitamin D3 works in concert with your body's release of growth hormone. Growth hormone peaks during deep sleep, particularly in the first few hours after you fall asleep. That is when your muscles are most receptive to repair signals. Vitamin D3 taken at night aligns with that peak. Taken in the morning, you miss the window. There is one more layer here. Vitamin D3 also reduces something called skeletal muscle inflammation. That deep ache in your thighs after a walk. That burning sensation in your calves late at night. That is often not just age. That is chronic, low-grade inflammation inside the muscle tissue itself. D3 helps regulate it. A 2022 study in Frontiers in Aging found that adults with D3 deficiency had twice the rate of nighttime leg pain compared to those with sufficient levels. And participants who corrected their D3 showed measurable improvements in walking speed within 6 weeks. Now, I want to circle back to Sandra for a moment, because her story does not end at B12. When I ran her blood work, her vitamin D3 was sitting at 18 nanograms per milliliter. The clinical threshold for sufficiency is 30. She had been going outside every single day. But after 60, your skin produces roughly 75% less D3 from the same sun exposure you got at 40. Sandra was not neglecting her health. She was being misled by advice designed for a different body than the one she was living in. I added 2,800 IU of D3 to her bedtime routine. 8 weeks later, she called me. She said, and I want you to hear this clearly, she said she had climbed her back porch stairs without holding the railing for the first time in 3 years. That is not a miracle. That is nutritional science applied at the right time of night. Now, I made you a promise at the beginning of this video. The most important vitamin of the 3. The one almost no one is talking about, and I am almost there. But first, I need to set your expectations honestly, because if I give you this information and you try it for 3 days and feel nothing and quit, you will have done yourself a disservice. Here is what the actual timeline looks like. Week 1, your body is adjusting. You may notice nothing. You may actually feel slightly more fatigued as your cellular chemistry recalibrates. This is not failure. This is your system recognizing that something has changed and responding to it. Do not quit in week 1. Week 2, this is typically when the first signal arrives. For most people, it is sleep, deeper sleep, fewer nighttime interruptions, legs that feel less restless in bed. Small things, but real things. Week 3, this is the breakthrough week. Most people who make it to week 3 report something shifting. Less stiffness getting out of bed, less pain on stairs, a feeling of more ground under their feet when they walk. Week 4 and beyond, this is where the numbers start to move. Strength returning, balance improving. The thing you thought was just aging, starting to feel like something you have, some say in. Most people quit after 4 days. I want you to remember that, because the people who quit at day 4 never find out what day 21 felt like. If you are finding this genuinely useful, tap the like button right now. Not for me, because the algorithm uses that signal to put this video in front of someone else who is losing strength and does not know why. That one tap could change someone's life today. And then stay with me. Vitamin K2. This is the one, not K1. K1 is the blood-clotting vitamin in leafy greens. Most people have heard of it. What most people have never heard of is K2. And what it does inside aging muscles and bones is something the supplement industry has been slow to market because it is old, it is cheap, and it cannot be patented in any profitable new form. Here is what makes K2 extraordinary. Your body accumulates calcium throughout your life. That is supposed to be a good thing. But calcium does not automatically go where you need it. Without sufficient K2, calcium gets misdirected. It deposits in soft tissues, in joint capsules, in arterial walls, in the muscle tissue surrounding your legs. Instead of building bone, it creates stiffness. Instead of protecting your joints, it generates pain. Think of K2 as a traffic controller at a busy intersection. When the traffic controller is doing their job, calcium flows to your bones, your teeth, where it belongs. When the traffic controller is missing, calcium piles up everywhere, and your legs pay a price every single morning when you try to stand. But here's what the research is now showing about K2 and muscle directly. A 2021 study published in the journal Nutrients gave older adults a daily therapeutic dose of K2 and tracked what happened. Over 8 weeks, participants showed a 21% increase in quadriceps strength. That is the muscle at the front of your thigh that controls your ability to stand up, walk upstairs, and catch yourself if you stumble. A 21% increase, and a 31% improvement in standing balance in 8 weeks. But here's what makes K2 truly irreplaceable. It does not just work alone. It completes the work of vitamin D3. You know how I described D3 as the crew chief who activates your muscle repair team? K2 is the building material that team uses once they are activated. D3 tells your body to absorb calcium and use it for repair. K2 ensures that calcium ends up in the right place, reinforcing bone density and muscle cell integrity rather than calcifying in soft tissue. Without K2, D3 supplementation can actually create a problem. Calcium gets mobilized into the bloodstream without proper direction. Some seniors who take D3 alone notice increased joint stiffness over time. That is frequently the missing K2 signal. The form matters enormously here. You want MK7. That stands for menaquinone 7. It is the most bioavailable form of K2, and it stays active in your body for up to 72 hours compared to MK4, which clears in hours. At bedtime, MK7 provides a sustained signal through your entire sleep cycle. That is when bone and muscle repair is most active. You want that signal present for the whole repair window, not just the first 2 hours. Now, I need to be completely clear about something before I continue. If you are taking blood thinners, particularly warfarin, which many seniors take for heart conditions, you must talk to your physician before adding any form of K2. K2 can interact with anticoagulant medication and affect how it works. This conversation should happen before you start, not after. Your doctor can monitor your INR levels and guide the right approach for your specific situation. And if you are managing kidney disease, always confirm supplementation choices with your kidney specialist. Some formulations require different guidance for compromised kidney function. With that said, let me show you the exact bedtime protocol, 30 minutes before you go to sleep. That is your window. Start with your B12. The form that matters is methylcobalamin, not cyanocobalamin, which is the cheap version in most multivitamins. Get the sublingual tablet, the one that dissolves under your tongue. Bypass the gut entirely. Take 1,000 micrograms, place it under your tongue, and let it dissolve completely before swallowing. This is not optional if you have any digestive changes at all. The sublingual route goes directly into your bloodstream. Next is vitamin D3, 2,000 to 3,000 IU of cholecalciferol. That is the natural form, the one your skin would make from sunlight in a younger body. Take it with a small fat source, a tablespoon of almond butter, a few walnuts, a small piece of cheese. D3 is fat-soluble, which means it needs fat present to absorb properly. Without fat, up to 60% of what you take passes through unused. Then MK7K2, 100 to 200 micrograms. Take it at the same time as your D3. They work as a team, and they absorb better together. Put these 3 bottles next to your toothbrush, same place, every night. Habit stacking is the only supplement strategy that actually works long-term. Do not exceed these doses without blood testing. More is not better with fat-soluble vitamins. The goal is sufficiency, not excess. Now, Sandra. 6 weeks after I added all 3 to her nighttime routine, I got a voicemail. She was laughing when she left it. She said she had walked the whole 3-mile postal route she used to carry just to see if she still could. She did it. No knee brace, no cramping. She said she cried the last quarter mile, not from pain, from relief. I want to be honest with you about Sandra's results. She responded well, faster than average. Not everyone will see that timeline. Some people take longer. Some people have additional factors, circulation issues, thyroid involvement, medication interactions that mean they need additional support beyond these 3 vitamins. If you are not seeing changes after 8 weeks of consistent use, bring this information to your physician and request a blood panel that includes B12, 25-hydroxyvitamin D, and K2 levels. That gives you actual data to work with. But here is what I can tell you with confidence. If you are over 60 and you are not intentionally supplementing these 3 vitamins at bedtime, there is a high probability that your muscles are trying to repair themselves at night with incomplete resources, and they are doing the best they can, but they need what they need. Do not let anyone tell you that weakness is just what happens. Do not let anyone tell you that falling is just what you have to accept. Do not let the system hand you a shrug and call it a diagnosis. You now know what your legs are missing. You know when to give it to them, and you know what to expect when you do. Type "I finished" in the comments if you made it to the end. And then send this to one person, your sister, your neighbor, someone whose legs have been letting them down and who deserves to know there is something they can do about it tonight, not next month, tonight. Next week, I am going to show you something that surprised even me when I reviewed the data. There is one common morning habit that seniors over 60 are doing before breakfast, something that feels completely healthy, that is actively blocking the absorption of every single supplement you take. I have seen patients correct this one thing and watch months of stalled progress finally start moving. That is next week. Do not miss it. Do not let anyone tell you it is too late, because it is not.